is our 17,000th COVID conversation in this current moment. I think it's actually our 9th. Am I right there, colleagues? 9th?
11th.
11th. See, look, I lost count myself. So we're really glad to have you with us. This is something, for those of you that may not have joined us previously, this is something that we began doing when we all went remote. Like the College Foundation has been remote since mid-March. And we thought this was an opportunity to bring people closer to the college and some of the wonderful things that happen here, because we realize that unless you may be a student, staff, or faculty member, you may not know. And you may even know the faces or the names, but you may not realize some of the incredible work that happens in our community college. So we thought this was a great idea. And sure enough, we have a community of folks that agrees. And so here we are for the 11th time to talk about one aspect of the college. Today, we're going to speak about athletics, physical education, and all the things associated with it. And of course, at a time like this, our remote environment and with everyone having safety on their mind, the message has been widely absorbed that in fact being outside and being distanced is one of the safest things we can all do. I can tell you from personal experience in a recent wilderness trip that I've probably never seen more humans in some of the places that I went. So the message has landed and there's a lot of folks outside. But we're also going to take a look at what it means to be part of our athletics programs at the college. There's a lot that happens within the within the walls, and in this case, mostly outside the walls. And so I will introduce our three speakers shortly. I will say before I do, I want to acknowledge my colleagues, Raisa Smorrell and Rachel Johnson, who are my partners in this. We, along with Jennifer LeMay, are going to make sure that this is a good experience for all of you. So I want to thank them as well. The foundation, of course, as Raisa said, can be found at sbccfoundation.org. And this will end up being posted probably just 24, 48 hours from now. So with no further ado, I want to introduce our three speakers. We have with us today the Athletic Director for Santa Barbara City College, Rocco Constantino. We have the Associate Athletic Director, Ellen O'Connor. And we have the Department Chair for Physical Education, Dance, and Athletics, Kathy O'Connor. All three with us today to talk about the various aspects of our athletics and physical education program. So they're going to have a chance to present, and we'll have some slides to show you, and then we'll go ahead and morph into our conversation as we typically do. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to you, Rocco. Welcome.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having us. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Rachel and Raisa too for putting everything together. We're happy to join you, answer questions from the public, and do what we need to do.
All right. Let me go ahead and let Kathy say a quick welcome word, and then I know we'll go back to Rocco for the presentation in just a moment. But I want everybody to see who you all are before we get going.
Okay. Well, thank you again. I would like to tell you again how much we appreciate this. The foundation is a critical part of our institution, and we can't thank you enough, Jeff, and your staff for inviting us and for doing these COVID presentations. I think it makes a big difference to our community, and maybe this is the good news out of the bad news, is people are really getting to know us a little bit better than they would ordinarily. So this is a great opportunity, and thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. And finally, Ellen, do you want to say a quick hello before we jump in?
Sure. Just again, a thanks to everything that you're doing on behalf of the college to not only inform the public, but also highlight some of the different areas of the campus that have been impacted by COVID in probably pretty profound ways in terms of course delivery, et cetera. So really do appreciate it, and happy to share with us and the community what we've got to offer. So thank you.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much. Let's kick it off with the director, Mr. Constantino. You're up.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, SBCC Athletics, we're part of the 3C2A. That's the California Community Colleges Athletics Association. It's a group of 107 two-year colleges in the state of California. We offer 20 different sports. We have 11 women's sports and 9 men's sports. And we typically have between 375 to 430 student athletes that are active each year. We also have athletic training facilities, athletic program assistants, and we have a very big mentoring and academic achievement zone program to help our students. That's all there to support our students. The mentoring and academic achievement zone is really important, and it's helped enable our student athletes to perform some of the best academics in the state for any junior colleges. We've had at least two of our athletic teams each of the past 5 years picked as the top athletic teams in the state. So we're one of only 2 schools in the state to have that. So that was a great honor. So, you know, our belief is that we educate the student holistically. It's through academics and athletics, and kind of the whole ball of support they get helps their students perform generally better than the non-student athlete population. In our current situation, our student athletes have been going through, like you mentioned before, the roller coaster ride with mostly down drops for the past 5 months. In mid-March, our spring athletics season was cut short by the initial outbreak of COVID. And we've been managing and dealing with that throughout the summer and now into the fall. Our fall athletic season has been pushed to the spring. So there's going to end about a 9-month period without 3C2A athletics. And well, what I can say is that we've been working very hard to come up with a plan, not just in our school, but in the conference level, on the state level, within each athletics sport statewide. It's really been a statewide effort to find a way to safely bring athletics back to our student athletes. It's important to get our students out there. Ellen and Kathy are going to talk about some of the benefits of movement and exercise. And athletics helps our students reach their next goals in life, and that's what we're here for. We want to make sure every student, no matter what their plans are, get to that next step in life. And the support systems for academics, the structure of athletics, and the support of everybody at the school is what helps our students get there. So, we're looking forward to it. We're hoping we can have our athletics teams compete safely come the spring. I can say we've also been working closely with the NCAA, the NJCAA, NAIA, all the different governing bodies for athletics across the country with eligibility rules too. So we're working nationwide really to make sure student athletes are not impacted negatively with eligibility and have the least impact on their hopes and dreams for their careers.
Thanks so much, Rocco.
Thanks.
Kathy, let me toss it to you.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Jeff, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying, I'm tossing it to you.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about our health, physical education, dance program. Again, we feel like we're a critical part of the campus community. We feel like our programs or student success programs, whether they're athletics, physical education, or health. We have 7 full-time faculty and over 30 part-time faculty in our department, along with 6 staff members. We have an amazing group of faculty and staff whose goal is for our students to stay healthy and succeed in their classes. All of our faculty have gone through the online course development training, so we are prepared to do whatever we need to do, either online, face-to-face, or maybe a combination of both, which would be like a hybrid model. We have a very robust department with a diverse set of both lecture and activity classes. Our lecture classes are critical to our students' health and success, but I'm going to emphasize our activity classes for this discussion today because they really are the ones that are going to suffer the most from having to be totally online. Our classes range from a typical offerings around various sports, as well as a wide range of classes that we offer off campus, such as swimming, surfing, kayaking, hiking, beach volleyball, golf, ocean swimming, just to name a few. We are prepared to have our classes outdoors if possible. The college is submitting a plan for outdoor classes with health protocols to county health. We have those protocols completed, For the off-campus facilities, we are following the protocols for the Los Baños Pool, Pershing Park, golf courses, and other facilities. We will follow all of the CDC and statewide protocols for outdoor activities, and we will use an app called Healthy Rosters, which allows for all students, faculty, and staff to complete a health self-assessment at home prior to the temperature checks that would be done on campus. We really can be role models for our students in following the rules about masks and social distancing. We will enforce these protocols, which means that we will be contributing to the healthy culture of our community. Something that is very difficult to do in an online environment, but we can do it when we're face-to-face with our students. The California Chancellor's Office has prepared a document. It's the report of Safe Campus Reopening, which was dated the end of June. In this paper, they address various disciplines like physical education, performing arts, and technical education courses. When they said prioritization of in-person instruction should be for courses with academic outcomes that cannot be measured or achieved virtually, such as performance, laboratory, and clinical experiences. Each discipline that is difficult to convert to virtual instruction should be considered distinctly when developing a plan to safely return to campus. We feel that if other educations of higher learning, like Westmont and UCSB, are planning face-to-face activities on their campuses, then we should be able to do this also. So to that end, we do have a schematic that we can use for our La Playa Stadium. I think we have that here available for you to look at. We've developed how we can use our facilities in a safe way, students entering and exiting, and then we have a variety of activity areas. Of course, we wouldn't have all these activity areas busy at the same time, but it does show we're lucky to have a facility where we can separate groups and we can have activities in a safe and effective way. Cleaning of the track and field, cleaning of any equipment that we might use would be done regularly, again, meeting the CDC protocols. So we feel really confident that if the health department will give us permission, like they apparently have for Westmont and UCSB, that we can have a variety of our activity classes on campus, outdoors, in a very safe manner, where again, we can set the standard by enforcing the protocols with our students. As you know, the high-risk group right now is between 18 and 30. Most of our students are in that age group. They are not wearing masks or any kind of face coverings, and they're not necessarily following the protocols if you watch some of the activities that are allowed outdoors now. So we feel like we really can contribute to the health of our community by having these classes, talking about healthy activities and healthy protocols for COVID prevention. So that's our plan. We hope that the health department will go along with us. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ellen to talk about some of the healthy benefits of our activities.
Kathy, thank you. I appreciate that. And, you know, I think it's really important as we sort of are moving through this discussion to sort of look at sort of the broad picture. What is it that we do in physical education? And both Rocco and Kathy have hinted at those types of things. But all of us who work in the physical education athletic department, we're really strong believers in what the Society for Health and Physical Education Professionals deems health moves minds. And we really believe in the kind of mind, body, spirit, holistic approach to education. Our student health and well-being is of critical importance to us. And that's not just for student athletes or the students that are in our physical education classes. That goes for all students at Santa Barbara City College. We do have a broad program that Kathy has alluded to. So we know that people come to movement through a variety of avenues. So the weightlifter is often not the same person that is the yoga enthusiast, who may not be the same person as the hiker, who may not be the same person as the dancer. And so we try to have a broad program that meets the needs of many of our students, because as we all know, developing healthy habits is oftentimes quite dependent on what you like to do and the activity that actually feeds that habit of movement. So we believe very much in that. And in our face-to-face programs, we have a very broad program, and we're hoping to keep that alive through our online or face-to-face courses that would be in a socially distant outside environment. So, one of the things that comes across with where we are right now is this idea of teaching healthy lifestyle practices. And, how do we do that? So we do that in not only our health classes, but also our physical activity classes. And so, we teach the skills that people can use for a lifetime to build healthy habits, which of course benefits all of us in terms of the reduction of anxiety, depression, stress, being able to control weight, control blood pressure, control chronic disease and illness, for example, heart disease, as well as diabetes. So, these health issues are not only important to our individual students, but they're also very, very important to our society as a whole, and helping to improve the health of our society. And I can't think of anything that would be more important in these times of COVID, that we have an active voice in that and an active presence within that. So we all know, and we teach in our classes, that exercise, consistent exercise, it's a foundation, it's a pillar of healthy lifestyles, and of being able to move forward in a way that allows a person to grow not only in their physical health, but also their cognitive abilities, their mental health, as well as a sense of well-being, a sense of belonging. So much of what we do in athletics often is translated to our physical education classes as well, building camaraderie, building teams, allowing students to interact with one another in ways that really take down walls and allows us to build community. And so that's really a critical importance to us in terms of what we do. Much of what we do through the active and physically active part of our classes is allowing students to improve their health and well-being, primarily through the acquisition of oxygen and being able to increase their oxygen consumption, their body's ability to utilize oxygen. The higher that level of oxygen, the more, frankly, the longer someone's going to live, and the higher quality of life that they will live. So we really affect students on not only a psychological level and an emotional level, but a cellular level. And the better those cells function, the better they are at taking the daily activities of their lives and moving forward. So there's a growing recognition among not only healthcare professionals, but also in the Olympic organization, in terms of the ability of sport not only to bring people together, but also to enhance by having physical activity as part of recovery programs. And within COVID, being physically active during times of COVID. One thing that gets referenced quite a bit is the importance of outdoor activities. So the Mayo Clinic has also been very outspoken about this, but the reality is that being outdoors and allowing people to have an environment that is pleasant, that gives them a chance to reduce their stress, reduce their tension, is really important. And then on top of that, adding in exercise to be able to further the abilities of their body to be able to do what it's supposed to do, including fight infection. But I think more important, the issue that we see with many students, anxiety, depression, exacerbated through social isolation. We want to make sure that we are contributing to the health and well-being of our students. And we can do that both in an online as well as we think face-to-face in an open environment as well. And so the one thing that we're going to be doing is looking at online programming, and we're going to be using a program called Bridge Athletics. And if you guys want to show that, Bridge Athletics is an opportunity for us to be able to work with our students. So our instructors will be able to upload their course rosters in this. It's all mobile applicable. And so we'll be able to put out programming from our students, which is individually based, from the student that has no equipment to the student that has access to a full gym, to be able to program their exercise workouts. And within that, the student can have both student-to-student contact as well as student-to-instructor contact. We'll be able to monitor what students are doing, and then frankly be able to interact in real time with them in terms of what their programming is about and how that's working for them, and adjustments that we need to maybe make for them. So this is a way that we can utilize technology to be able to build really quality programming for our students, whether they are using it in their homes or in any kind of environment, even a face-to-face class if we were to have that out on the field. So we think this is going to be really a useful technology for us, and we're looking forward to bringing it to our students. So I think that's probably where I can end it, and then maybe we can look at Jeff having questions from the group.
Great. Thank you so much, Ellen and Kathy and Rocco. So guess what? There's a lot of questions. I know that shocks you. Yeah, I really appreciate the overview. I think that helps give people a sense of all of the different parts of the programs and how they interact. There's certainly some questions I want to talk to you about around student health in the broadest sense, and some more of that data. I was curious to read some of those articles you'd shared with us in advance that are now, a couple of them shared in the chat, so anyone interested can look at those. We also have some specific questions about individual programs. But let me back up to the status of the moment, because I know this is sort of the overarching question for so many. We've watched as the national response or decision not to respond at a national level has rolled out. We've looked at then what the states have taken on, either to fill gaps in the national response or to just guide something regionally. Then we've looked at how California, of course, has interacted with the state level government as well as what the local authorities have. And of course, then what institutions have. So we know it's been a complex map. And of course, with the entire institution, we've been waiting to hear what is likely to happen in the fall. So let me try to encapsulate, and then I want to toss it to you to fill in the gaps here. So we know that the most recent communication from the superintendent president said that the remote order now goes through October 18. That was based on the spike in infections that has really ramped up over the last couple of months. There is some evidence that could be controlled in certain parts of the state, and if so, there was an exception put out that there might be exceptions to that rule for schools going back in person. But of course, the protocols for how that happens and who has to get permission from whom have yet to be fully rolled out. So at this point, is it correct to say that our classes, including our athletics programs, will be remote as far as we know when fall starts on 19th of August?
Okay, so maybe I can address that question.
Sure, thanks, Kathy.
So I think we were all disappointed on Monday when we did see that message from the president. We have been very active since then, working with the administration on how we can possibly get that exception. I think you summed it up probably at the very beginning when you said something about the lack of leadership from the very beginning, and not on our part as a college or even as a state, but nationally has really created a very unfortunate situation for all of us. I think the thing that is challenging for us now is the state has told the local health departments that they're the ones making the decisions, and there really is no guidance for higher education. There have been no protocols sent out officially about higher education, which is why I believe that Westmont is going face-to-face, UCSB is going hybrid, and then the health department basically has sort of put all the programs at City College in one bucket as instructional programs, really not considering the health and value of having classes outdoors. When I drive around this community and look at things that are happening, volleyball camps with 100 students, soccer camps, golf, swimming, baseball at Pershing Park, all of these things are occurring. And to tell you the truth, there isn't a lot of social distancing. There isn't much face covering, which I find to be pretty disheartening, where when we go live face-to-face, we will enforce those protocols and make sure that we are keeping our students healthy. So we're still hoping that we will have an opportunity to go face-to-face, even if it's a hybrid model. Maybe students meet one day a week on campus and the rest of their work is done online. And I'm hoping that the other agencies in Santa Barbara will support that. There are colleges in California now having face-to-face activities, which is disheartening again for us because they seem to be able to do it and we can't. But we are very determined, and we're going to put together the best plan that we can. And I'm hoping that we can actually educate the county health department, which is, we're educators after all, so that should be our #1 priority. And that we will do the best we can to give our students the best opportunity they can have. And again, like Ellen said, the social, emotional, and physical health factors that go into our students and what kind of help they need, it's really critical that they're allowed to have some activities face-to-face with their faculty and with other students. So we're hopeful. I never give up, and I think that that's the attitude we need to have, is that we're going to keep fighting. And you never know, the state of the situation could change. We could go into stage 4 within the next month if our area behaves themselves and follows protocols. So we're hopeful.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. And I think if anyone knows Kathy, you know she does not give up. So circumstances. This is a team. I want to say this to all three of you. I mean, I want everyone to know how much work you've all put into this. I know you have fully planned. I see Sally Sanger's also chiming in on the chat. I know that you've all put really detailed plans in order. So everything it sounds like that the department can do it's being done, and now it's a question of getting the appropriate go ahead from the folks at the county and state level. So we'll, as hard as it is, I know for people to believe, I think maybe this many months into the pandemic, we've all gotten used to the notion that what's true today might be different tomorrow. So I appreciate that update and that you're trying so hard to get that open. Let me ask a couple of sort of impact questions, if I may. And these are from some of the chat as well as some questions we'd had prepared. One is, are you seeing impacts on enrollment? So we talked at our session, probably 2 sessions ago, about enrollment trends. Actually, last session with President Goswami. What are you seeing with respect to athletics? How does this moment and this uncertainty and this potential of not being outdoors, and of course the delay of the season, how does that affect enrollment for your students? Rocco, maybe you can start that one off.
Yeah, definitely. We it's kind of a little unique for each sport, and each sport is in a little bit of a different situation. We had some new coaches come in over the past few months, so those sports they've maybe seen a little bit of a drop in enrollment, but some of them are other sports, football, basketball, the soccer programs, baseball. Those sports are actually seeing an increase in enrollment. We were on track to have our biggest soccer program and biggest football program in years. And we haven't had many drop off yet. We do have concerned parents, and it's still a lot of things up in the air with them. But we haven't been negatively impacted too far yet with our athletic enrollment. And in fact, some sports we've been positively impacted.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask a related question around recruitment. I know, in fact, this was an issue that I know you and I think have a meeting coming up before too long to talk about how this affects things like the SBCC Promise and others. But with the delay of the season, what does that mean for a student that may be in the midst of their athletic career? They're coming to Santa Barbara City College. They have hopes of being recruited on by a university or professional team in the future. What does that change in calendar mean for them potentially?
It's tough. It's a trickle down effect from the NCAA too. So it's unique to every school situation. When the spring season got cut short, those spring athletes on the NCAA level were given the opportunity to return again and finish and come back to school the next year as seniors, or after their senior year. So there were situations where student athletes might have been, and I'm not necessarily saying it's in effect with our students, but student athletes may have been expecting to go to a 4-year college after SBCC, and but then the person they were going to replace returned, and it's a trickle down, and now the incoming student athlete's at a disadvantage. Well, our level on the 3C2A granted that year back too. So there were a lot of opportunities where student athletes were going to be using their last season of eligibility in the spring, they're now able to return and play another year at City College and maybe get a better opportunity for that. So it's like I said, it's unique to each situation. It can definitely hinder some student athletes, again, with a trickle down effect, or it can help them. It can give them another season here. It could let them, get stronger academics before they move on to the 4-year level, help them prepare a little bit more. And we do see some student athletes that are taking advantage of that and returning to SBCC for a 3rd year.
Great, thank you. Another area that you touched on, and actually, Ellen, I think you spoke primarily to this, was that link between physical health, obviously, and people, when they think of athletics and physical education, they think of physical health, but the mental health and emotional health and the broader definition of health. And of course, that's a focus right now in many higher education institutions, as well as K-12s, about student mental health. We actually had the folks from counseling and the Well on one of these sessions not that long ago. Could you speak to that and sort of the linkages there between the physical education, athletics programs, mental health, and maybe specifically, do you have a formal link to our counseling programs and the Well and other parts of the campus?
Absolutely, a very strong link. So we work quite a bit with the Well in terms of promoting programs. And so Becky and I do a lot of work together in terms of what's happening in their area and what's happening with ours. One of the things that we do, I think, very well in physical education is we try to connect students with appropriate resources. And so many of us, we're very attuned to student health and well-being. And so when we pick up on clues that a student may be struggling, we immediately get them to the help that they need. And oftentimes that's walking a student up to the Well or student health services or to the counseling office or whatever it might be for that student. So we have a great partnership with all of those resources on the campus and do quite a bit of work to make sure that we have that. But I know all of us address this in our courses, not only our lecture courses, but also our physical activity classes, is the role that athletics, or more importantly, physical education and physical activity plays in anxiety reduction, the reduction in depression, suicidal ideology, and the importance that physical activity has in building brain cells, building connections to that, utilization of oxygen, which helps to boost mood. And so the research is very clear about the role that physical activity plays in enhancing mood, in reducing stress and anxiety, particularly anxiety, and then also being able to reduce feelings of depression. The social aspect becomes critically important for persons who oftentimes feel isolated as part of a syndrome of anxiety and depression. And so bringing those students together, whether it's virtually or not, allows us to really help to build those communities for students that hopefully help them to thrive, not only from a physical point of view, but also from a mental point of view. So I know that's really an important part of our programming is, how does the student be their best selves? And we focus quite a bit on that emotional part, that psychological part, because it drives so much of the physical.
Great, thank you. I know that's an area that some people, many people are interested in. Not everyone knows that link or how seriously you all take it. So I appreciate that. And you just mentioned again another piece of your work, which is the broader student success goals of our athletics programs and physical education. And of course, we all know that there are institutions and places in the world where the athletics seems to live in a parallel universe to the academic side of it. And people may not realize just how integrated and how closely aligned those are in our college and many community colleges. Can you speak to that, or Kathy? I mean, actually, all three of you could speak to this. So I'll roll the dice here. Who'd like to take that one on?
Well, I can jump in initially, at least just with a lot of the research that, in fact, I just watched a TED Talk this morning, neuroscientist talking about the value of physical activity. And interestingly enough, her research was about memory, frankly, and the development of the hippocampus. But through some personal things that happened in her own life, she became an exerciser. And in the process of doing that, said, my focus was so much better. My attention was so much better. My memory was so much better. I could not only think about the past more, but I could also be more creative and imagine about the future. Wow, how can I bring this into my classroom? She was an instructor at NYU. So she's actually developed programming around that. And what she finds is that her students are happier, they're healthier, they feel better cognitively, or are able to perform better cognitively, but feel better about themselves. All of that relates to their success as a student and to their interactions with their fellow students. And she said the students have been the most engaged in any class that she has had when she has preceded activity and incorporates that into the course that she's teaching in neurophysiology. So I do think that that's really just, it's so important for us. And it needs to be a critical element of the curriculum. And I frankly think integrated into every student's educational journey.
Thank you. Kathy, you want to add a bit to that, a few comments? Oh, I think you might be muted.
Sorry, I had my phone muted. This is really critical research, and it's been happening for the last probably 10 years, but has really come to a peak now. But one of the things I think that's so important, and I've been an athletic academic advisor over the years. I teach one of the college success courses for student athletes, and we have a total program for our student athletes that really helps them succeed in the classroom. And our student athletes, we know, transfer at a higher rate than the average student. We have more student athletes getting degrees percentage-wise than the average student. They're more successful in their classes. So we know that not only is the activity critical to them being healthier, but then we have a support program for them, which really helps enhance their ability to go on and meet their goals and transfer, if that's what their goal is, to transfer and be successful. If it's to get a degree and get a job, we help them with that. So we really do, I think, have a very successful program, and athletics plays an extremely important role in their academic, social, and actually their professional future.
Right. Thank you. I want to acknowledge a few things. So first, our Art Olguin is offering some wonderful historical commentary and framing in the chat. Thank you, Art, for that. As well as a reminder that this is true for all stages of life. So we're talking about people of all ages when we talk about our physical education programs. And
that's right.
Let me pivot a little bit to the facilities question. And I by the way, I have to compliment all three of you in coordinating your virtual screens there.
Well,
above La Playa State.
Teamwork makes a dream work.
Yeah, clearly you work well together, I can tell. So there's a question that's come up before. I'll pose it to you, and then I want to talk about a bigger thing that is in our future. The question is the opportunity for covered spaces. It actually came up in the academic context previously about what about doing outdoor. What about that big mysterious tent on the Maine East campus, or what about outdoor classes? And I would sort of pivot that to you all and say, what about inclement weather and are you thinking about adaptations? If assuming we can at some point go back in person this coming year, do you have to make any changes to the physical infrastructure of the college and the facilities to make that work?
We've been working on that already. Mark Broomfield, as you know, he is the director of facilities. He's a wonderful person, and we've already been working with him on ways that we can take that schematic that we showed you and actually have some covering over some of those areas. Not permanent covering, but at least allow to have some sunshade, and possibly even for rain. We, luckily in the fall semester, we don't usually have a lot of rain. And if we do, we have our online course activities already planned. So if we do have a student miss a class, actually we're more prepared now than we ever have been. because they can go to that online environment. The infamous tent you mentioned is actually used as storage now. I have investigated that, and it didn't it didn't pan out for us because the college is actually using it for things that they need. So that didn't work out too well, but we do have some other plans for outdoor, our outdoor spaces to have some covering.
Thank you. And let me ask actually about a particular, before we go to this other issue, swimming. And Sally Sanger and others in the chat have been addressing swimming. I mean, swimming is kind of unusual. I mean, it's a different environment than most other sports and athletics. So what are the prospects for swim classes as well as competitive athletic swimming in this coming period?
Well, as far as classes go, we use Los Baños pool. Los Baños has been open for some time. We have incorporated their protocols into our protocols, and there really will be no problem at all using Los Baños for our classes. And we could, if the classes are significant in size, we can always split them up so that it is a hybrid model where they come to class one day a week and have online activities the next day. That's why that Bridge app is so important for our students, that they can be using that app to monitor some of their activities. So the pool is no problem at all. We have ocean swimming, which is obviously in the ocean, and there's people swimming all the time. Surfing is another activity. Kayaking, we're following all the protocols for those activities. I guess that's the discouraging part for us, is that all these things are happening all over the community, and why we can't have those opportunities for our students in a very controlled environment is pretty frustrating. But the golf courses, the tennis courts, Pershing Park, like I said, they're all having activities, and we will use those same facilities.
Right. Thank you, Kathy. So let me now ask the other big question. There is hopefully, knock on whatever I can knock on, a beautiful new facility in our future. People know that the college, the district applied for and received some big grant funding from the state, that some plans have been drawn up. And if they've been watching board meetings, they would have seen a few opportunities to get an early glimpse of this. Can you talk about the future of what is now our quote unquote gym, our sports pavilion, and what that may look like a few years from now?
It'll look beautiful.
Yeah, the plans are beautiful. We've been intimately involved, all of us, in the development. The architecture firm has been amazing. We are so excited. I mean, as you know, our building is very, very old. It is really in disrepair. I've got to say, our maintenance people do an amazing job of keeping us together and functioning, but it really is ready to go. And our plans are to actually put the entire building sort of next to the track, so we can use the gym and the classrooms and the Life Fitness Center during this transition time. So we're very excited. The fact that the state approved this building just is a testament to how sort of pathetic the building was. The state doesn't have a lot of money, and didn't have when they gave us the money to give to colleges without a great need. So it's obvious that there is a tremendous need for us to replace this building, and we're really excited about it. It's been a long process, but very satisfying, and we're thrilled.
Right.
I think also our students will just be really, again, the building itself is one that promotes much of what we've talked about in our session today. So a feeling of openness, a feeling of belonging, but also inspiration, I think, is probably the word that comes to mind in terms of how this building has been put together and what we want people to feel when they're in the building. So there are tremendous viewpoints from it. The stairways that go to and from different areas, I mean, the views of the ocean. So this opportunity to sort of be in nature and still be in the building, I think is really kind of unique to that. But I think one thing that Jeff, you and I have talked about a little bit is this idea that at least in the fitness center, we are looking to go to utilizing equipment that is able to capture energy. And so we're looking at systems that can be utilized, that when a person is on a treadmill or a bike or anything, that it doesn't utilize any energy, but it actually takes the energy, the kinetic energy from the individual, feeds it back into the building grid. We get this question a lot from students, and when they come in, my phone's just about ready to die. Is there a place I can plug in? And the equipment I'm looking at is one where you can actually plug your phone in, get on it, and charge your phone. And so, we want to, again, try to emphasize this idea of not only the connectedness that we have with ourselves and nature, but also the connectedness that we have with one another, and that we all play a part in the health and welfare of not only ourselves, but our society. So we hope that comes across also.
So you're saying the more screen time, the more healthy someone will be, right? They'll just keep cranking that.
As long as they're on a treadmill or some sort of cardio equipment, they'll be boosting their brain at the same time. Yes.
Excellent. Rocco, do you want to, as athletic director, do you want to share any of your dreams for this new space that we all will look forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's such a need for it. It looks old when you really go and take a look at it. You can see how run down, and it's just not a great place to be putting our students. But it's really the infrastructure of it too, the pipes, the boiler, water leaks and things like that. The way the building currently sits, it's, money being dumped into it year after year after year to do this patchwork repair. So I'm excited for not having to have our water shut off and our power go out and things like that. But I'm also really excited about the equity aspect of this. The current building was built at a time when there wasn't any women's sports at the college. So the locations of different areas as compared from men's sports to women's sports, it's just not equitable. Men have larger size locker rooms, better access to training facilities, closer access to parking lots. And we've taken a lot of care to make sure that the new building will be equitable. So being able to right those wrongs is very exciting. I also think it's very exciting for the public too. We use that building for phys ed classes and athletic contests and practices, but you go down there just about any night of the week. City Rec is using the gym. The local high schools are using the gym. We had a great basketball game among Santa Barbara High and San Marcos this year that we hosted, and it was a phenomenal community event. The gym was packed, so to be able to provide this facility not only to us at SBCC but to the community as well, it's going to be huge. And if you think back to the Thomas Fire and the mudslides when the gym was turned into a Red Cross shelter, now we'll be better prepared to do that too, and things of that nature. So it's just, it couldn't be more of a no-brainer to get the project done. And when it is finally done, it's going to be such a benefit to the students of SBCC, the staff, the faculty, and the community too.
I heard you had a pretty spectacular gala in that space last year.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, you're probably going to be very happy to have a beautiful building for gala.
No, we're looking forward to that. Yeah, the design is beautiful, and I know the community will get to see more and more of that as it gets closer. So, well, let me ask just a couple more questions as we get to close to the hour mark here. One is there have been a couple questions around the link between the School of Extended Learning and our physical education programs. Could you, Ellen, or you, Kathy, comment on what is the link? How do those two pieces of the institution work together or not? Are they in parallel? Are they in partnership?
Well, personally, I've been teaching through the School of Extended Learning for like 40 years now. I actually teach a class, a non-credit class on our campus. Sally Sanger, who is also one of our faculty, teaches through non-credit. I personally also, I'm the sort of non-credit liaison, curriculum liaison to them. We haven't had too many activities from the School of Extended Learning in our building. Our building right now isn't very conducive to that, but it certainly would be in a situation where we have a new building. But I've worked very closely with, of course, Melissa Moreno, who has left, but hopefully we will have that same relationship with the new VP who is hired. But we are, we always welcome any relationship with any community group, and particularly with our own School of Extended Learning.
Great. Well, that's I know that's a significant way that our community also connects with the college. So appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you one more question formally, and then I want to give each of you a chance to share any closing comments before we will sign off this afternoon. And Nancy Kramer has a question here about the situation where, the uncertainty of when we're going back and what it's going to take. Is there anything that members of the public, and that of course includes a whole lot of students and others, can do to make sure that desire to return to classes as soon as possible in person is known to the policymakers? I know you've all organized well and prepared well. I know that the administration of the college wants nothing more than for us all to get back face to face. Is there anything that the community can do to help in that front?
Well, I think maybe the County Board of Supervisors probably has the most influence over county health. So I think any attempt to communicate with them would be very helpful. I know that we have some of our professional organizations, like our Faculty Association for California Community Colleges, writing a letter to county health. And I think making direct contact with county health would be really good. I think that, like I've said, the message that recreational activities in the community could go on, but our classes can't go on, really doesn't make any sense. There's really a disconnect somewhere in that communication. So any communication that a community member would like to make to a County Board of Supervisors or to county health would be much appreciated.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I would just echo that, in talking with my colleagues throughout the state. So I meet with many of the colleagues in the California Community College physical education, kinesiology, and dance discipline. And we've all been talking about outdoor programming and the value of outdoor programming to really help with the health and safety of our students, as we've talked about today. And really the benefit to those students of being able that. And so many of them have communicated with their local health agencies, their college administration. They've developed the planning to be able to do it safely. Their boards have approved those things. And so along with the County Department of Health, they've worked in concert to be able to develop those plans and then bring them to fruition on their campuses. So I think anything that anyone wants to do to communicate to our administration and to our decision makers on the campus, that would be fantastic, that they would be supportive of that. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, and I want to say one more thing here. Susan Houlihan Davis put it in the chat, but it's worth saying out loud. The most basic thing that everyone can do is wear the dang mask, keep the social distancing, behave yourselves, help flatten that curve, get us back to healthy, and of course, everything will move faster when we do. So I appreciate that, Susan.
Yeah.
All right. I'd love to give you each a moment to say any final words or thoughts you want to share, and maybe we'll go in reverse order this time around. We'll go Ellen, Kathleen, and then we'll end on Rocco. How about that?
Well, just a big thank you from our end to bring what we think is a pretty important topic to the public around the role that we play on our campus and within our community in terms of health and well-being, and just appreciate the chance to let people know that we're here and that we're here for them, and we're hoping to move forward both online and face-to-face. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ellen. Kathy, how about you?
Well, I'd like to echo that. And then also in this community, we do have many, many community members who take our classes, credit classes and non-credit classes. And hopefully the word is out that we are here, that we're not going away, that we provide a great service, and to encourage people to enroll in our classes. They will be happening one way or the other. And so we really love to have our community members. We have a lot of community members enroll in physical education classes here, and we love them, and they provide a great service to us, and we love having them in class. And again, like Ellen said, any messages you want to send to the administration or to any organizations in town to support us, that's really wonderful. And this is the good news that, like I said at the beginning, out of the bad news is we've never really had an opportunity to do this before. So the COVID-19 pandemic has at least given us an opportunity to share with our community a little bit more about us and what we do and how important it is what we do. So thank you again.
Thanks so much, Kathy. Rocco, final thought?
I would just like to take time to recognize the efforts of our staff at SBCC and in the athletics and physical education department. We've been meeting every single Monday. Well, we always meet Monday, but from mid-March when we were shut down straight through, we meet every Monday for at least 2 hours as a department, including holidays. We never miss one, to try to plan how we could best serve our student athletes. Our athletic trainers put together an incredible return to safety protocol very early on. They were one of the first ones I've seen to get that done. And then it came back to our group and we're able to work through all the details of that. So the work that our athletic trainers, our program assistants, our head coaches, all of our staff members, it's just been incredible to see everybody come together, and it's only for the benefit of our student athletes. And just also talking to our coaches too. We have a great coaching staff who's going to get creative. I was talking to Sandrine, our women's basketball coach, earlier. Today is her 50th birthday, so happy birthday to Sandrine. And we were just talking. I said, how do you teach a kickboxing class? How is that something you could do online? And she says she does it. They do airboxing, they do calisthenics, they work on journaling, and she went through all these different creative things on how she was able to convert her class from an in-person class to an online class. And our coaches have done that with their athletic programs. Talking to Craig Moropoulos, our football coach, I said, how are you going to do a whole fall of online football practice? And he said, his students are going to be in the best shape and the most prepared that they probably ever will be. You know, they'll have those months to work out, to get in shape, to learn in meetings, to be supported academically. And I think our coaches are just going to use this fall semester to really build up a strong foundation in each and every student athlete. And I feel our student athletes are going to be much better off moving forward through the rest of their careers.
Wonderful.
Rocco and Jeff, I think if we can we give a shout out to our social media platforms that we now have that allow us to communicate to folks. So Kathy, you're running that. You want to take that?
Yeah, that was something I forgot to put in my notes. We've developed 3 social media platforms. We have a great group of faculty working on this summer. We have Instagram, we have Twitter and Facebook. They're all connected to the college platforms. We are promoting our classes, our programming. We're putting up health tips. We're really trying to get information out to the community and to our students on our programs and to make sure that they stay tuned to what's happening in the future. So please make sure you check those out. You can find us on those 3 platforms. And any ideas you have for us as a community to help us promote our own programs, we would love that advice. And I'd like to second what Rocco said. I can't tell you what a wonderful faculty and staff we have. And we have worked all summer, and there has never been anyone who has complained. They're all on board, and they're all working so hard to make everything happen for us. So we're very fortunate to have such a great faculty and staff.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all. We're really grateful for you and all your work. And I heard you mention it, Kathy. You said 40 years, I think, of teaching through School of Extended Learning. So you've got breadth and depth of knowledge here, and people that have been committed to this work in this institution for many, many years. So we thank all 3 of you. Rocco Constantino, our athletic director, Ellen O'Connor, our associate athletic director, and Kathy O'Connor, our department chair for physical education, dance, and athletics. Thank you all 3 of you for joining us today. I will also say in closing that our athletics departments have been fantastic partners to the foundation. We've worked together on a number of things. They're a great open door really for our community. And so much of our community really engages with the college through these activities and departments. We're grateful for that. We will, again, post this for those of you that are going to tell your friends about it and make them jealous, and they'll wish that they were here with us this afternoon. Go to foundation.org and we'll get that up for viewing. And we'll also make sure that any other of these resources that were shared today will be shared there as well. So I want to thank you all. I want to thank all the community members that join us, everybody who supports the SBCC Foundation, because every dollar that we raise and all the partnerships that we work on, that all goes to support this incredible work that you've just heard about, among other parts of our campus here. So thank you all for joining us. We are going to take a break from COVID Conversations for the next month while we reshape it. So you're actually here at an opportune time. This will be the last one probably for our summer session. And we'll get back in September after courses start in whatever form they take. And we'll start these conversations again. So thank you all. Be well, and we'll talk to you soon.